So unintended consequences. Our tech expert, Shelly Palmer, is here with us. I am really glad you're here to help us parse this interview. Look, we all know what's at stake here, and it's whether or not the government is, in governments, I should say, not just in the United States, are going to have a larger say. I'm going to preface all of this by saying you have told us for years that if you look at a company like Google, your point is that they are one of the most data-rich. That means able to make money and control our lives over that data in the world. In that context, what do you think of that conversation you just heard, especially when we look at the political debate right now?
I think the political debate is taking the easy, populist, scare everybody, get everyone riled up approach. And I think that when you're explaining, you're losing, and we are going to be explaining the whole time because tech is not a soundbite. There's no soundbite answer to what you should do with Google or Facebook or Amazon. If you really, I don't want you to feel bad for Google right now, but
Don't worry, I won't.
But the Cannes Lions Festival starts tomorrow, and YouTube Beach has been turned into Google Beach, and their entire marketing cloud team is there, and they are fighting for their marketing existence in a way that they never had to before, because when you go to buy a product right now, you are as likely to start your search on Amazon as you are to search for it in Google. This is not good for Google. So they need to answer that because a very high percentage of advertising dollars that used to exclusively go to Google and Facebook, now they have a new competitor called Amazon. So you're not going to care about that as a consumer. You're going to go, well, they're all big tech. They should all, be regulated. But as it turns out, there's a lot of healthy competition.
So your point is the market is working because they're in this American ecosystem,
right.
Which in the long term works.
That's
okay,
right.
Now, big tech regulation is obviously becoming a major talking point. I don't have to tell you, in 2020 campaign, even with all of those candidates. And for the first time, it is actually a topic in this month's Democratic debates. Amazon is hitting back after Joe Biden criticized how much the company pays in taxes. I want you to have a look at this tweet with us. In a tweet, as we said, Amazon says it has paid every penny that it owes. In fact, it says right there, Shelly, $2.6 billion. Their argument is a good argument, isn't it? Look, if you want to change the tax laws, you go to Congress and you do it.
By the way, there are a lot of things in tech where everyone in tech would say, if you want a different law, change the law. That's what Congress is supposed to do.
Because Joe Biden is acting like somehow they're skirting the law there.
No, I think everybody, like I said, has their own agenda here. The politicians are trying to get elected, and this is the time they're trying to get elected. It's unfortunate because right at this moment, we're seeing one of the biggest technological transitions we've ever seen. And big tech is part of it, but new tech is part of it. Sundar mentioned artificial intelligence in passing, and he said it's going to have dramatic implications in national security and dramatic implications in economic growth. Well, who are the big AI players? They're Facebook, Google, Amazon, Netflix. Our biggest tech companies are our biggest AI players. Why? They have the most amount of data. They're data rich, to use my words that you gave me back, right? They're data rich, and so they need to do something with the data, and human beings can't deal with large data sets. So, yeah, if you want to be a world leader in data, you're going to have to be as good as Alibaba and Tencent, or you're not going to be.
And this is where we get back to your point where it can't be done in a soundbite. Apparently, it can't be done in a billboard either. I mean, look, Elizabeth Warren, to name one on the Democratic field, has a plan for everything, and one of her plans is this billboard. It's become a piñata, break up big tech. It's a good slogan. Why is that dangerous, though? And I challenge you, Shelly, because for some of us, we think we cannot be too enamored with these companies for precisely the reason that you said. Competition does work. Let the startups try and take on some of the big guys.
Look, break up big tech would be great with specifics, and it's really easy to take something giant and put a giant target, a big target on its back, and go ahead and hit that target. I remember, just metaphorically, being in a Uber during the financial crisis or car service, and the guy was saying the big banks have to be broken up, and it was going through the whole thing about breaking up big banks. I said, how'd you buy this car? And he said, well, I took a loan. I said, where do you think that money came from? And he had the whole capital structure was lost. He just wanted to break up big banks because that was his thing. And this is that. This is take a giant shot for no reason. If you break up Google, exactly how are you going to break it up? Will you separate search from, let's say, something else inside of Google? If you break up Facebook, how will you break it up? Will you take the messenger services apart versus the Facebook itself? Okay. Like, what would you do to break it up?
We have to go now, but I have to put you on the spot with this. Do you think something has to be done, or do you think just leave it?
I think you need to regulate because there are things that are regulatable, and I'm all in favor of it, as are, by the way, every single CEO in the tech business. The question is, how? Because if you overregulate, you're going to just study Standard Oil. the breakup of Standard Oil. That's what's going to happen if you don't be careful with breaking up big tech.
You had to bring that up. I had to study that in school. You just had to bring that up. Nightmares continue. Listen, you brought up a good point about the AI. We're going to get to that in future segments on this show. It is really important as a disruptor, and the Google interview proves it. Appreciate that.